this is the most often referred to critique to what I just said, because the U2 fallacy is it's avoiding having to engage with a criticism by turning it back onto the accuser. So you answer criticism with a criticism. It means U2. This fallacy is known as the appeal to hypocrisy, commonly employed as an effective red herring, because it takes the heat off of someone having to defend their argument and instead of shifts the focus back on the person making the criticism. So here's kind of how it goes. It's probably the most employed logical fallacy of the Calvinistic believer when engaging in a debate over the tulip systematic. Here's how the conversation goes. The Calvinist says, God brings about every meticulous detail for his own glory, including man's sinful inclinations and choices. By the way, there's a quote there that says almost that exact same thing from Calvinists. It's just reduced to make it simpler and easier to follow. So God brings about every meticulous detail. That's an actual claim of a Calvinist and leading Calvinist, okay? Hobbes, representing the traditionalist here, says that claim undermines the character and the holiness and the goodness of God, who abhors moral evil. He is holy and separate from all evil. And he does not even tempt men to sin, as James 1:13 says. He is the redeemer of sin and sinful choices, not the one who brings them about. You too, the Calvinist says, have the same problem, because you believe God knows everything that's going to happen, and he doesn't prevent it. Notice the traditionalists is critiquing an actual claim of the Calvinistic systematic. We're not making up a claim and pinning it onto them and then critiquing that, which is a straw man. We're critiquing an actual claim of their system, okay? The Calvinist, he doesn't answer that critique often. Sometimes they will, but very rarely they'll even answer it. They'll say instead, oh, you have the same problem. And they say you have the same problem, and they don't actually appeal to an actual claim of one of our scholars, a traditionalist. They don't go find a traditionalistic scholar that actually says, we believe XYZ, and therefore critique that claim. What they do instead, they use their own philosophical conclusions about the infinite attribute of divine omniscience, which is a philosophical conclusion that the traditionalists deny. And they will critique that, not our actual claims. So the traditionalist is critiquing an actual claim of Calvinism, while the Calvinist is appealing to something all traditionalists actually deny, i.e., if God knows something and does not prevent it, it is the same, it is equal to him determining it. Let's look at that same fallacy in a real-world discussion, see how it plays itself out. Calvin says, I hired a mean kid at my son's school to bully him so as to toughen him up so he can represent my name in a strong, powerful way. Hobbes replies, you did what? How could you, as a good and loving father, hire a bully to mercilessly ridicule and tease and beat up on your kid? If your son finds out that you did that, he's never going to trust you. Calvin responds, you too. You did the same thing last year, remember? When your son told you about that bully that was beating him up, you didn't go up there and stop it. You had the power to go beat up that bully yourself. You had the power to keep that kid home from school, and you let him keep going to school. You permitted it. You didn't have to do it. So you too, you're just as bad as I am. You did the exact same thing. Hobbes replies, what? I did not hire some mean kid to mercilessly torture my son. I hated that he went through that. I wept with him. I worked with him every night on what to say and what to do in order to confront his bully. I helped him to redeem that horrible situation, to make him stronger. I did not cause it. I did not bring it about. I did not make it happen for my own namesake. If someone went to my house and convinced my son that I actually hired that bully last year, he would never trust me again. It would undermine my character and trustworthiness and completely ruin our relationship. I am the helper. I am the redeemer of my son's bad situation. I am not the cause of it. How dare you even compare what I did to what you did? Do you see the difference? The idea that God's choice to permit free creatures to make free choices and suffer the full weight and consequence of those choices is somehow equal to the divine meticulous determinism being promoted by pastors like John Piper is blatantly absurd. It would be tantamount to suggesting that because someone chooses not to actively get involved in helping feed starving children in Africa, that's equal to someone who purposely starves a child locked in his own house. Yes, the concept of divine permission may be problematic, but it pales in comparison to the problem inherent within the actual claims of what Calvinists teach. Hopefully you see the difference between those two. Hopefully I don't have to say any more to point out the difference between the actual claims of what Calvinism is saying versus what they are accusing us of having to believe if we simply affirm divine omniscience. It's absurd to even begin to take that kind of leap into that far of a direction.